8,375 total kilometers, round one of the 2022 FIA World Cross Country Championship. This is Dakar 2022. Greetings and salutations, race fans, motorsport lovers, and Dakar fans, and welcome to race day and our coverage of this magnificent event. As per usual, we've got day one under the way. We will come to you every evening on Facebook and on the YouTubes, and so that you can join us. You can ask us our questions. We will try to answer you. It is an involved show. Same as last year, and very, very pleased to welcome Steffi Vetter from the Southern African Dakar Group, somewhere on the southern tip of this magnificent continent of Africa. Steffi joins us. Welcome, Steffi. Great of you to join us. Thank you very much. And oh my God, you are looking so beautiful.
Thank you, Colin. Thanks, everybody in the team. I promise you, I cannot believe we are back here again after an entire year with 836 kilometers under our belt of the 8,375 kilometers that we're going to be going on a journey. I am so excited. Southern Africa Dakar Group are so grateful to be on board with you guys, and I can't wait. Let's go.
You bring a new energy and a knowledge of motorbikes that some of us lack. And you, dear viewers, you, our audience, have a proxy in Andrew the Horn Dog, somewhere also on the southern tip of Africa. He sits still on holiday close to our half a mountain. Andrew, that we got running. There's 4,258 racing kilometers. We had 19 of those racing kilometers today, and it brought us some very, very interesting results. Let's just have a look, Steffi, at this initial, they called it a prologue. It was an initial have a go to establish race positions on the road for tomorrow, for the official stage one. They're calling it stage 1B. But you'll also notice that we're joined by King Price Extreme. We have a car here. We have a Century. This is exactly the same specification of Century CR6. There's 10 of them racing in Dakar. There's one as a spare car in the truck. It's a mobile spare parts thing. And we're very, very lucky to have one of the cars here. This is the car actually that was raced by Lance Trethui in the last of the South African Cross Country Series. It's a magnificent car. During the show, we will go and have a deeper look in it, take the cover off the engine, and you can see all the carbon fiber, all the kilometers of electrics in it, and the magnificent work that the guys at Century Racing have done. We're also going to be joined by guests every evening. Tonight we're going to be talking to Skalkberger, a man who has a childhood dream. It took 50 years of Skalkberger Motorsport for him to get to Dakar, and it follows, he brings a theme that we're going to carry with us as we go through this Dakar, the theme of father and son. Skalk is there with his father, Skalk Senior. We've also got Henk and Hein Latergan, who are on the event. You've got the Schroeder, father and son, on the race as well. Scotty Abrams is the son of Arthur Abrams for South Racing. They're running 19 odd of the Can-Ams under the South Racing barrier. And during our show, we're going to bring in a couple of significant fathers and sons. And if you, dear viewer, can think of an interesting father and son pairing that you would like us to talk to, let us know. Tomorrow, Ian and Jordan Pepper, there's a significant thing. But, Steffi, let's first, before we go to Steffi, let's see if we've got Andrew the Horn Dog back. You back with us, my boy?
I think so. It's great to be back after a year. It feels like just yesterday we were here doing this. And obviously the half a mountain's blocking my Wi-Fi a little bit here, which is making my life a little bit interesting.
These things have come to test us, Andrew.
It's fantastic, I'd just like to say.
Yeah, it's Some say that it can be rather pleasant, particularly on the Bloberg side. There's some interesting little restaurants there. Andrew, you're going to shout when you've got questions, queries, comments from anybody of readers, both on the YouTubes and on the Facebook, let us know, and Andrew will shout out and bring it to us. But let's go straight into Steffi Vetter. Last year was punches. It was heartbreak for South Africans. The cars were quick, the bikes were quick. Ross Branch had a bit of a mare, but they back. We've got a whole lot of new rules on the bike side. What should we be looking forward to this year's race?
Colin, to be absolutely honest, I don't even know where to start. Literally, we have got a little bit of everything. I mean, even today with Rossi and the Yamahas, all three in the top 10, fantastic. We've got original bimotors, so we've got all of our guys. We've got 4 people in the original bimotors, and we do have to have a big shout out to Kirsty. Kirsten Landman, who was going to be able to race. She would have been the first woman in Malamoto from Africa, and unfortunately tested positive for that disastrous coronavirus and has not been able to go. But we've got, the guys are duking it out. I mean, you've got Sharon and JK in the original bimotals. You've got Rossi in the top 10. You've got our Achter Osse Werner, and we've got unfinished business with Walter to Blanche. We've got Stuart Gregory going back for more. We've got Brad Cox. So let's not even go there. We're going to come back to brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, Brad is leading the rookies as we speak, which is fantastic. So we've got Brad right up there. He's duking it out with Mason Klein. Now remember Mason Klein, the American, and Brad had a little get together at the Rally du Maroc where they duked it out again. So let's look at that. That's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And you cannot discount Charon Moore. Charon, ex-hard enduro, he has crossed over to cross-country rally, world rally right now. He's like a duck to water. I mean, he's
That's
just
an interesting
straight
thing.
in there and racing.
The theme of Dakars now from years gone by was more marathon riding, where now it's the motocross short enduro guys are getting in there on the backside and making their presences felt.
Yeah, absolutely. You mustn't forget, Cole, that this Dakar now forms part of the World Rally Raid. So this is the first round of the World Rally Raid Championship. So apart from anything else, they're vying for points. They are right up there. So you've got the Rally GP, you've got the Rally 2. Brad comes 15th overall today. I mean, he smashes it out the park. But don't forget that because of the way that it's structured, Brad he won't start before position 28, because all the Rally GP guys will be in their starting orders tomorrow when they tackle stage 1B.
Steffi, I'm going to interrupt the story of the bikes. And I want to go to the story of a big man with a dream, and his father. He got a glint and a tear in his eye. Skalkberger from King Price and Skalkberger Motorsport. Skalk, congratulations on finishing your first stage of Dakar. What does it feel like?
Oh, thanks, Mo. What a day. First, let me say thank you, Steph, for all your support. Everybody in the bivouac is looking the whole day at your posts. Thanks, Mo. Much appreciated. Thanks for supporting all the South Africans here at Dakar. Colin, yeah, what a day. It still feels like a dream. It's not reality. And I'm sitting in the truck because there's so much noise outside and everybody's working. And it was a short stage today, but it was a long stage because we did close to 800 kilometers for the day, and we only raced 20 kilometers. So it was a good day to settle in and to see what it's all about. But it's still a long road that lies ahead, like I said before, it's kilo for kilo, day for day. We've done day one.
And Skalk, you, a guy who likes your numbers, and your race number 271's got a special meaning, but your overall position in the cars today, 50th, on the 50th anniversary of Skalkberger Motorsport. How cool is that? Did you plan that?
Well spotted. You'll see we've got a theme going in Skalkberger Motorsport. So my race number is 271. The 71 is my birth year, obviously. Skalkberger Motorsport is 50 years old this year. My father, obviously, the African champion and the Springbok rally driver. And I'm the second generation, so it's been in our family for 50 years. So on top of my 50, it's Skalkburger Motorsport 50. And then 50 today on my first day out. I don't know if I'm happy about that 50, but I'll take it. It's still a long road to go, and everything is about 50 here. It's the 44th rally, Dakar. So 50 of that is 22. So 2022. So yeah, we're running with that 50.
Oh, we can sit and play with the numbers all night long. But Scott, tell us you sit in the start line, the countdown goes, and I mean, your left foot must have had a little bit of a tremble on the clutch with the excitement and the emotion as you get to pull away. This is a dream come true for you.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It took a long while, and it was due for the last couple of years. And thank Lord, I was saved and spared to be 2019's big accident, breaking my neck and my back, and after that, armed robbery, damaging my hand. After my crash. So all of that playing along, we spared to be here today. And it was difficult to keep my feet under control, and it was even more difficult to keep my hands on the steering wheel because of all the adrenaline. And it's amazing. I think Steph can help us. She knows more about the statistics, but this is a South African record of the most competitors in Dakar, and this is also the biggest Dakar since it's left Africa. So in competitors. So I would love to show you outside the bivouac, but I can't get high enough and quick enough onto the trucks to show you. But it's unbelievable.
No, there 33 of the 89 cars are designed and built in South Africa, which is quite phenomenal. You one of driving a Century CR6, just like we've got here, same thing, but it's got a little bit more legroom in it because I got into this thing yesterday, and I'm not a midget, but this thing is built for midgets, and neither are you a midget, so you need to have the fuel tank move back a little bit so that you can get into the thing. The car go all right, and you were comfortable with it?
Yeah, I'm absolutely comfortable in it, and I've got enough space around me. The car was built around me to give me some more space in it, and that obviously makes my life much more easier. But doesn't matter how comfortable you are. If you hit a 900-kilometer stage for the day, or open section and stage, it becomes small. But we've done day one. 10% is done.
And it's 8:15 at night in Saudi. What is the program for the rest of the day? There's drivers briefing, I think at 8:30, or the team briefing at 8:30 your time. But what have you got planned for the rest of the day, Skalk, or the rest of the evening?
No. After this, I'm having supper, and then I'm going for a shower. If it's still clean, and if it's not clean, I'll take a chamois and wash myself. But and then get into bed. Tomorrow is the first real stage. Tomorrow is a long day, and it's going to take. Tomorrow we'll see what's going on tomorrow. But tomorrow is the first real Dakar stage.
Skalk, we've got a question from one of our readers, Andrew, who wants to know what?
Colin, Skalk, we've got Ibn Myberg asking what sort of pushed you to go with the Century CR6 for this event. And if John Williams, one of our legendary rally drivers that you'll know, has just said, well done, Skalk, awesome to hear how excited you are, and good luck to you. But yeah, mainly, why did you pick the CR6?
Obviously, we've got our own car that we're building and developing in South Africa. It's totally different. It's a four-wheel drive instead of a two-wheel drive. But it's still it takes so much years to develop a proper race car that's reliable. And and I had this dream of going to Dakar, and I couldn't wait for my team to finish off our car and get it reliable. And I got a call from Julian, which is the CEO of the Century Racing team, and he said to me, "Listen, we've got a car that we built for a Canadian. I wouldn't mention his name, but and he's 10 centimeters longer than you, and he's not interested in doing the Dakar. He wants to do the Silkway. Don't you want to use his car?" And I said, "Are you crazy? That's not a question. You should know the answer. I'm there. It's the most reliable car and the best value for money that you will be able to buy in the world, by far. And
Okay.
and it took me and my dad 2 minutes to decide. We drove to Century Racing and had a meeting and shake on it, and here we are doing Dakar.
And the other thing, Skulk, is that
Fantastic.
you, as one of the 10 centuries that are there, it almost comes with a built-in infrastructure around it, where you've got a team that provides factory support for all the cars. It takes just another one of the variables, and one of the things that can go wrong removes that from the mix and makes it a little bit more possible to compete successfully.
The fact is that you're sitting with a team that's got, like you said, 10 cars. After 10 years development, you're part of a factory team which builds one of the best cars, as we can see today's results. Brian coming third overall. What a car. It proves, unfortunately, it puts me in a bad light. He's third and I'm 50th in the same car. So I don't know if I'm getting old or he's just quick. But it shows you're driving one of the best cars in the world. It's purely about the drivers.
Steffi Vetter, you from the southern end of the tip of Africa. What has been the comments about the Century cars that you've picked up through the day of the news that you bring? You know, we try in the evening to bring some kind of an analysis and reasoning to the events of the day. You sit from early in the morning following cars day by day and spreading the news through your Southern African Dakar group site. So what has been the chatter around the Century cars this year, or today, in fact?
Skulk, again from my side, I just want to say congrats. What a great day out. I was so emotional for you guys this morning as well. I mean, it was just incredible to see all these CR6s pulling off the line. And thank you for your kind words. But you know what? I just actually want to say something really quickly. I do a lot of the social media and whatever, but there is Johan van Deventer, my partner in crime, who sits and does all the stats continually all day long. And those are the stats that you actually get for positions and for placings. The hype around the CR6s was huge. I mean, how can it not be? You know, this tiny privateer team in South Africa who's designed and built this proudly South African car, 10 cars at Dakar 2022. I mean, you've got the 5 Century, we'll get into it later, but you've got the 5 under the Century umbrella, you've got the Seradori Racing team, you've got the SMC Junior Motorsport team, you've got the ever exciting Coronel brothers. I mean, they're just a whole show on their own. So everyone was really excited to see it, you know, and also all the colors, they just are amazing. They sound so good. I think my best chirp of the day was one of the dads is at Dakar, and he had filmed the start of one of the CR6s going, which obviously it was Brian and Len because it's Len's dad. And then he filmed the Audi. And when the CR6 went off, he was like, that is a beast. And when the Audi went off, he was like, ach, nee, man. So, I mean, you know, I think that's the general sort of reaction. People are very excited. And I think more so because it's such a tiny team. I mean, it really is a David and Goliath battle out there. And the fact that, I mean, you know, Brian came third, joined third. They definitely are putting a stamp on it. And Skulk, I'm not going to accept another 50.
Skulk, you've got 333 kilometers of racing tomorrow. What's the plan? What's your approach going to be?
You know, tomorrow is still a shakedown day for me, I reckon. I need to get through that 350 kilometers, get settled in, build some confidence back. I haven't been privileged enough to have a lot of miles to East last year. So for me, it's another day of just going forward and building and moving up the rankings slowly but surely. And the day after that is the marathon stage. So I'm preparing very hard for the marathon stage. And then let's see what the scoreboard says.
Scoreboard never lies, and as long as you're still going, you're in with a chance of that dream of finishing your very first Dakar, which I think will make us all very happy and very proud. Skalk, will you please, for all of us at Race Day and the Southern African Dakar group, take our best wishes back into the bivouac and just say, we're all proudly South African, we're all shouting for the whole of our nation in this fantastic race, and that we're all very proud. Go and give our best wishes, Skalk, to everybody, Skalk, and carry our hopes and our best wishes in your heart tomorrow as you tackle stage 1B of Dakar 22.
Thank you very much, Colin, for the kind words, and Steph, once again, thanks a lot, and for everybody supporting you guys. We're getting a lot of support, and love you all. 2022. See you on the flip side.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Skalk.
Go
well.
Cheers, Skalk. Good luck.
Jeez, you can just see, Andrew, Steffi, you can just see the emotion in the guy's face. And yeah, we had to kick it off because he was excited to talk to us, dialed in early, and he's got stuff to do, people to see, and things to happen in the bivouac. Got any more questions and queries for us, Andrew? What's happening on the other side of the screen? What are people saying?
There are plenty of Happy New Year messages. We've got lots of people saying it's great to have us back doing this show again this year, so I think that's pretty exciting. We do have another question which has come in on cars, which I thought we could address quickly now, and it's something that I've noticed as well. And it comes from, I want to say, Liesel Greyling. Which side drive, left or right-hand drive, is the new Toyota Gazoo T1 Hilux?
Left-hand drive.
I think people have noticed this. People have noticed.
They've been left-hand drive for a while. And
they have, yeah.
Yeah, so the cars are built for an international market and international competition, and I think Hallspeed have done an absolutely magnificent job. And interestingly, they've built 5 of the new T1 Pluses, and let's get into that. In fact, that's a perfect way of getting into it. They built 5 of the new T1 Pluses. We'll talk about what that means or what they are and what it means. And they've got an upgrade kit for the existing cars that can go further forward. So I think, Andrew, Steffi, the talking point from last year, the biggest change that we really have is the introduction of the T1 Plus cars and the T1U for Ultimate, which is the electric cars. And it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how the T1 Pluses go. Well, now we know they're quick, and how the Audi goes. So, Steffi, what have you been picking up apart from some negatives about the Audi? In fact, Fritz, you've got a little clip of the e-tron Audi, I think, that gives us an idea of the sound of this thing. I'm going to stay neutral for a while. I love the sound of the old V8 Screamers. They're now gone to 3.5-litre V6s. And now the Germans, they come with the electricity. So have a listen to this. It whines. It's a bit Yeah, they won. So let's go to what it is. Audi, you will recall, they've got all this experience of running hybrid cars, electric petrol cars at Le Mans. So they understand the endurance demands of moving current into batteries and coming out of batteries. They've also had some years' experience in Formula E, and essentially this thing it's an electric car with an onboard generator. But it's not your Honda or Ryobi generator that you go down and get at Builders. It's a development of the Audi DTM four-cylinder turbocharged motor. So it's probably the ultimate generator that you can have. And one of the big things in my view has been the balance of performance and how you equate electric cars. And it was very interesting to see how they went today. Should we go straight into what happened today on the bikes? Let's go back to bikes, and then we'll come back to the cars and talk about that. So, Steffi, bikes, what happened? Where did our boys finish?
Bikes. Our boys did really well. You know, the whole thing is, it was also a bit of a turkey shoot today, you know, with this draw for tomorrow and whatnot. So some of them were playing it safe, some of them were being a bit cagey. So I think for me, as I look at it, and, you know, I'm sure I'm going to have the naysayers, but I think the biggest losers, unless there was strategy, was actually Honda, because Ricky and Nacho ended out in the top 10, you know, with the other guys right up there. So they've lost a whole lot of time. And then, of course, Husky. But, I mean, if you just run through the top 10, our boy from last year, I mean, he was a rookie, Chucky Sanders, just came flying through and blitzed the field on the gas. You've got Daniel Sanders. Then you get the Hondas. So then you look at the strategy that's happening. You've got 2 out of the top 10, 2 in the top 10. So you've got Pablo Quintanilla in second. And then, of course, our ever-smiling Kalahari Ferrari Ross Branch in third, followed by Kevin Benavides, KTM. KTM also playing games. Matthias Walkner, followed by Adrian van Beveren. Now, Adrian is Rossi's teammate. And if you remember, we didn't have any Yamahas on that finish podium last year. So it's really good to see those Yamahas just flying that flag so high.
There's a bit of pressure on Yamaha. A little bit of pressure on Yamaha this year.
A lot of pressure. I think there is so much pressure on them. I'm going to put my head out there, but I think that they're going to do really well. I think they're going to surprise people. And of course, we're holding thumbs that they do that because of our Kalahari Ferrari out there. I mean, Rossi's been racing his lungs out, as have Adrian and Andrew Short from America. So the fact is they need a bike that gets them, and they need to be competent in race. They need to be race ready. So let's hope that they are that this year.
So I heard that Yamaha have basically gone hunting in the KTM fold and have got Mrs. Peter Hansel as overall team manager of the thing. They've brought in the top mechanics and technicians from KTM to help them run it. Any truth in, am I reading the right kind of places, or I'm just getting garbage in and more garbage out?
You know, yeah, Colin, I think to have a strong team, you've got to have a strong team around you. And I think that they've taken all facets, just from, looking from the outside in, they've taken all facets of what they have to do. It's R&D, it's great management, it's great mechanical support, 3 great riders. I mean, they've got incredible riders in that team. So I think they can only go up from last year. So let's hope they do. But with 3 riders in the top 10 today, they're actually throwing the gauntlet out to the guys, because, I mean, Sam's, backing up the backstop with Gas. I think it'll probably be Sam's last year this year. And then Andrew, I adore Andrew, the American Andrew Short, who comes in for Yamaha, and then Johan Bereda Bort, rounding out the top 10. But then you say to yourself, where are the Huskies? Where's Honda? Where's Sherco? Where's the Hero team? So the Huskies played it really safe. So you've got Luciano Benavides, Xavier de Sautre, and our boy Skylar bringing out sort of between P13 and P26. Then the Hondas play games at P12 and P25. Not really sure what that's all about, but we'll see tomorrow, or will be laid out tomorrow. Sherco, Santolini, Gonçalves, also upper 20s. And then Hero, who's Joaquim Rodriguez and Aaron Marais. Now, Aaron is South African, and he got a ride only because Franco Kaimi was injured fantastic for him to be in that
19th,
factory racing.
came in 19th today. Damn
I'm
good
in
ride.
19th today. Blooming good ride. I mean, everyone's feeling their feet. Let's see what happens. But let's talk, that's the top 10. So look, we know this is going to be top 10 today, top 20 tomorrow, because obviously you're going to be opening the road. We don't, as of going live, we didn't have the starting order for the bikes as at that stage. So that's going to be really interesting to see a wee bit later, because then you're going to see the strategy and who's actually playing chess with whom, which they all are. I mean, it's a smorgasbord of bikes this year. It's so exciting. I mean, you just can't get better.
And from a South African point of view, or if we had to give a race day rider of the day award, there's only one guy it's got to go to.
Okay, call it, Colin.
Bradley Cox. And we spoke about fathers and sons. Alfie is there helping him, guiding him, controlling his desire. But I mean, to come in 15th, 5 minutes off on a 12-minute stage. In fact, it's 1 minute, because shall we talk about that factor of 5? You know, on the bikes.
The coefficient?
Yeah, the coefficient. So in order to clarify and to discourage some of the sandbagging stuff, the organisers come with a factor of 5. So you finish the race in, Sanders' case, 11 minutes and 6 seconds was his actual time. They've multiplied by 5 and give him 55 minutes and 30 seconds as his race time.
Yeah.
So now we see...
It was very confusing.
Yeah,
it was very confusing for a lot of people, and that's why the gaps also went out. You know, we had questions like, my son was only 1 minute behind this one. Where, you know, what? And then the coefficient of 5 comes in.
Yeah, so the 5 minute 30 that Brad is behind was actually 1 minute and 30 by 1 minute 6 seconds, which is quite impressive.
That is exactly it. It's very impressive on a rookie day out. I mean, he said he had a really good prologue. I had to laugh because we saw an update after the prologue, and Alfie actually said to him, his dad, so how was the prologue? So he said, yeah, the prologue was good. So he said, and how was the ride to Joburg after that? He said he never wants to do that again because, you know, the liaison was so long today after the prologue. But I have to also say that's not the only father and son combination. So Brad is actually heading up the rookies as we speak. So you've got Brad is just, he's flying. But don't forget Mason Klein. Mason Klein is an American. Larry's also there, his dad. So Brad and Mason both ride for the Baz Dakar team. So they're both there. They're in each other's faces. They are extremely talented. So I think we're going to see a mano a mano going on there for that rookie podium. I can't see anybody else getting close to them. I'm hoping, obviously, that Brad can blitz it. And then don't discount Charon Moore. I mean, you know, Charon is Malamoto, but Charon actually is 9th in the rookies at the moment. He's going to have to be a bit more circumspect because it's a long race and they do everything themselves. They don't have any assistance. So you've got a lot going on there. But you've got John Kelly and you've got Paolo and you've got Wagner and you've got Walter. It's just incredible. And then, of course, you've got everyone who are MotoGP fanatics because Danilo Petrucci is actually lying 3rd in the rookies.
And that was going to be my question. How did Petrucci get on today? He's got a broken foot, hasn't he?
He's got a broken ankle. He's had a bit of a disaster start to the race. I'm sure it can only get better from here because he actually tested positive for corona, and it was, you know, can he or can't he start? Then he tested negative. Then he starts. Yes, he is sustained. He's carrying an ankle injury. So I mean, this man is like a machine. So I think we need to keep eyes on him as well. Can't count him out.
Horndog, I'm hearing questions. What have you got there?
What have I got here? Well, Greg Sharman was on it and brought up Danilo Petrucci just about 5 minutes before Steffi did. The comments about the Audi, well, let's just say our viewers are categorically not a fan of that. The best comment was, it sounds like my ex-wife. So we'll leave that one alone before we get into trouble. But yeah, no, apart from that...
Because of the whining or the rattling? No, I'm just wondering.
imagine a bit of
I mean,
both.
I wouldn't make a derogatory comment like that. I mean, you know me, I'm full of compassion for things, and I've got these filters that work so well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of half mixed because I heard another clip of it where it sounds a little bit louder. But no doubt it's part of, maybe they've got some speakers in there that play the sound of more whining. So maybe it's like an angry ex-wife. But certainly it's going to be very interesting to see how they go. And I've just got to say to people who are watching, don't believe all the whining and whinging that you hear in the press, because already we're hearing from the Audi camp how they're not happy with the balance of performance that's going on there. It's kind of almost making it any achievement come out as better. But in the result that they got today I actually think was quite a very interesting. Clearly they sent Carlos Sainz out on a mission. He was 12 seconds behind Nasser Al-Attiyah. Well, let's just go straight to it. So in the results of the stage today, Al-Attiyah, Sainz, Baragwanath, Lautachan, Loeb, Al-Raji, and De Villiers comes in 8th. You've got to say that it's tight, number one. Number two, the speed of the century, Brian took it easy, he says. And we know from the message that Glenn sent out last night that he was a little bit worried because you cannot rein in Nasser Al-Attiyah. And his mission was to go absolutely flat out, balls to the wall, and have a go. And I think Sainz did that as well. If you look at the relative performance of the other Scale Electrics cars, they were minute 8, minute 11 behind. So the two of them were kind of even. Sainz was clearly the rabbit. So hell of a interesting. So on the century, like this beast here, it's very lucky. We are going to check it out.
While you mention that beast there, Colin,
yeah.
is it right or left-hand drive? Is another question that's
left-hand drive. Left-hand
drive.
There we go.
All the successful proper Dakar racing cars or cross-country cars are left-hand drive. It's the way of the world, apparently they say.
Any successful racing car.
There's packaging issues and stuff where gearboxes and steering racks and stuff are made easier for left-hand drive cars, and it's easier for when they're racing over there. So you've got
Carl,
just two.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear if you had heard anything. I had heard via today that Henk actually had an issue with his speed limiter at 160 kilometers an hour. Have you heard any more of that since then?
Yeah, they had two issues. One is in the lead up to it. I mean, this guy's start of Dakar must have been, if he didn't have a strong mind, he would be screwed. So he tests negative, then he tests positive, then he tests negative, then he gets on the aeroplane, he gets there, and then Smiling Brett, who's the most chilled out oak that you can come across. And there's another biker, a crossover biker into co-driver. So Brett has, Henk has this, all these issues. Then he gets to the start and they get the car going, and the GPS wouldn't hook up with the satellite. So they had to get the organizers get in there to settle that. Then he gets going, and instead of limiting the speed at 1 cars or 170, he's limited to 160. I don't know how much time that actually cost him, but let's just say it's 10, 15 seconds. He got the 11:33. 11:32 versus Brian's 11:32. So maybe he would have been third, but so he had an interesting time. So they will go, and there will be a line on the software code that will be addressed and sorted for tomorrow, because tomorrow is a 330k stage, a loop around Hale. There are some fast parts to it, and there's one little climb, but we'll talk about that later. This thing, we started talking about the T1 Plus cars, and on the left here, you'll see the size of that tire. This is a one of Terence Marsh's cars. That's a normal 31-inch tire. These are the tires that cause so much trouble. No, not the tires that failed last year because so much energy was being put into them by the latest generation of the T1 trucks, the buckies, that racing cars. Sorry, I've got to get it right. The cross-country racing cars. The two-wheel drives on the front, this front of this car has got a 35-inch, and at the back, which is ginormous, it's kind of behind me. It's like about this big. In reality, it's 37 inches. So the T1 cars, they get the big tire. They get another. They now got 350 millimeters of wheel travel, and they 300 millimeters wider. And they're a little bit heavier. So they've got, they're weighing in about 2,000 kilograms without fuel and peoples. So there's a lot more rotational mass, a lot more inertia, and incredible work that's been done around the damping in order to control these wheels, because they're heavy. They are heavy AF. And they change the whole dynamics of the driveline. And I think we're going to see stresses on the driveline of the T1 Plus cars. It's going to be very interesting to see how they go. And in that whole battle, right at the sharp end of the field, in my notes, I had it as South Africa versus Germany versus the English, Great Britain, where we bring two teams. So think of cricket and how not so good our guys are doing. And now think of motor racing, where we're taking on with Toyota Gazoo Racing. And you'll notice they've dropped the South Africa from Toyota Gazoo. This is because it now ranks, because it's running in a world championship, it now ranks alongside the WRC and the World Endurance teams and the whole speed run Toyota Gazoo Racing cross-country thing. So it's a massive increase in global status for Toyota. And then we've got the 10 centuries that Century Racing bring in. We've got a Mauritian helping the South African. We'll grant him honorary South African status. Against the might of the Germans with the electrics and the minis, and one of the minis has been rebodied into an Audi X5. That's how big these things are. And then, almost a personal battle, Dave Richards versus Glenn Hall, ProDrive versus Hall Speed, Hunter BRX, Bahraini, unlimited budget, truly unlimited budget, playing against the Qatari in Nasser Al Attiyah. It's a wonderful war, and this is for glory. This is for pride of the nations, pride of the cars. This is better than life itself. It's, Steffi, it's unbelievable, this stuff, isn't it?
I know, and you know, Carl, if you actually look what's happened, I mean, you've got the 3 Pro Drives in the top 10, you've got the Toyotas, you've got the Minis, you've got the Audis, and you've got Brian. So that's kind of rounding out your top 10. Where are they going to start tomorrow? It's such a good mix. But then, now we're going to see the Tic Tacs.
So the thing, they raced today for glory and for time. But more importantly, they race to determine the start order for tomorrow. So NASA wins it, and in our notes, because it came on air, and I think, Fritzy, you've got that thing, that chart that we have. This is, they have a draw. And just before we started, we went on air, they had a draw for the start order for stage 1B. And so they go in order of the winner. So NASA wins, and he decides that he's going to go in 10th. Saints was second, so he takes 9th. And nobody wants to be at the front. They don't want to open the road on this thing. So the sucker, the last oak, well, he didn't have to draw, was poor old Orlando Terranova, who opens the road. Przgonski is second. Janil de Villiers, who finished 8th. He's third. Nani Roma with Alex Haru. Remember, Haru was with Janil last year.
Janil.
Anyway, yeah. Yazid Al-Raji, Sebi Loeb, winner of 980-something stages, world rally stages, winner of Le Mans, legend. This is his 5th Dakar. He's got to perform now. I think he'll do okay. And then the sharp end of the top 10, Henk Latergan 7th, Brian Baragwanath 8th, Carlos Sainz 9th, and Nasser Al-Attiyah 10th. This is exciting. It's going to be magnificent.
It's mouth-watering. It's mouth-watering. I mean, I cannot wait for tomorrow. I know that it's only stage 1B, and then on Monday we're going to the marathon. But I think the lines have been drawn in the sand, and tomorrow the battle's on. Those gladiators are going to get in there. It is going to be incredible tomorrow.
Absolutely. Andrew, when you've got interesting questions, just jump in and shout, because we know we've got the most magnificent audience in the world out there listening to us.
Well, Cole, it's well timed. I want to give a special shout out to a viewer we have from the bivouac at Dakar, somebody who spent a lot of time on this show with us last year. Nuts for Dakar, Stuart Gregory says he's sitting in his tent and this is his nighttime viewing. So I think that's really cool that Stuart's joining us from the bivouac.
Go Stuart.
All the way from Dakar. Stu, we're behind you all the way, but it's so good that you're there again. And we are all wishing you absolutely everything of the best. And just go and kick some butt. We've also had a couple of interesting questions. What's the oldest and youngest competitor? That one I haven't been able to find an answer for, but I will keep chipping away and try and come up with something for everybody. And then Johannes Itzebeth was asking about which car burnt on the first day shakedown, and NASA gave him his old Hilux. It was one of the Rebellion cars.
The Rebellion car.
Yeah,
it was the owner of Rebellion, yeah.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, that's got to be heartbreaking. We know how little fuel you need to burn a car. But, yeah.
But what a story, though, Cole,
Stiffy,
because if you think about it,
You know the youngest and oldest. You've got the answer.
I don't have the oldest, but I do know that Mason Klein, who is Brad's teammate in the Baz Dakar racing team. Mason Klein, I stand corrected, but I'm almost $1,000,000% of percentage sure that Mason is the youngest competitor. I think he's also making history being the youngest competitor to enter the Dakar. Oldest, I'm really not sure. Maybe we can run a competition. Somebody can tell us and we'll give them a cap. Come on, guys. Who is it? Who's the oldest
We'll do more
competitor?
than a cap.
There you go.
We've got a whole lot of, so one of the other partners that we've got, apart from King Price, is Spaniard Limited. They do a whole lot of specialist lubricants and stuff and chemicals, and they've given us a hamper as well. And the hamper's got some brake cleaner and copper compound and really cool stuff that comes from what the guys are using in Toyota Gazoo Racing. So tell us who the oldest guy is. Andrew, the Horn Dog, will do his proper research and come back with on this year's race, 2022, the 44th running of Dakar, who is the oldest and who is the oldest ever to even attempt Dakar. We've got
It'll probably be me, Colin.
We've got a respect for our elders, Steffi, because I know that there's some oaks north of 70 who've done it. Just going back to the fire, once you get a little bit of fuel and oil that's leaking, when it starts burning, even though you've got onboard fire suppression systems, it gets to a point where fire is absolutely vicious and it just consumes everything. And one of the saddest sights you can see is a brand new race car burning to the ground like that. But it's so cool that there were negotiations about. Now he's the head of Rebellion Watches, who's a sponsor and a partner of Dakar, and you'll know Rebellion in the World Endurance Championship as well. Rather a large company. They were negotiating to get. I mean, that is. It's a.
That's done.
Yeah, it's a horror sight. That. So NASA offered his car, but there was negotiations to bring out the Spaniards' spare Century to get that going. But he went with a car that he was a little bit more comfortable with, and that was NASA's car. So let's talk about the rest of what I call the South African interest We know that Janil was 8th in the stage. And then Shamir Variawa, Dani Stassen, came in 23rd, 1 minute 31 behind. And then we've got Castaldi and Sachs in a century. And then I'm saying, for now, we'll mention it at the start, but we don't like people who change nationalities and desert us as Africans, as the toughest of the tough in the southern part of Africa. We are South Africans. We are proud of it. So Cyril Dupre and Tay Perry, who now considers herself chairman, were 29th. Chris Visser. Who would have thought that Chris Visser was going to do Dakar? He didn't think about it until 2 weeks before the race when, unfortunate back illnesses for
Mark Corbett.
Yeah, Mark Corbett. Sorry, my mind was going in a million other places. And so Mark and Rodney were going to do the race together, but Mark's back got sore. Chris Visser's in it. Came in 31st, beating the Coronel brothers, who, I mean, there's another one. These guys are absolute nutters of note. It's a nice turquoise car that they're running, and they tell wonderful, wonderful stories. And then in 44th, Ernst Robbers and Henry Cohn in another century, just ahead of Skalkberger. And then Daniel Schroeder and Ryan Bland in 53rd in another South African vehicle. So we'll take them as South Africans because they've competed here enough. Run by the guys from WCT Engineering, who are large friends of ours. And that is a sister car of this one, that one. Sorry, I've just got to get my left to the right so that, anyway, that car. It's a sister car to that one.
And Cole, yeah, I mean, talking about Daniel and Ryan actually said today they were held up. They were held up. So, I think they've got an incredible Dakar ahead of them in that the WCT Engineering custom build of theirs.
And talking about fathers and sons, so Daniel is Jürgen's son. So, I mean, the more we think about these things, they just come out of the woodwork. So it's this whole thing that's going. And for Daniel, he's a rookie on this thing, and I think that he played himself in nicely. He's got to the end of day one. And then let's not forget, possibly one of the oldest men in the race, but he's only 50, as is Nasser Al-Attiyah, Jeff Minott and Siegfried Rousseau in a South Racing Can-Am, another man who had a dream, and he's living the dream. So they went and hired a car from South, who are running, I think, in my note here, I made some notes on 17 in the side-by-sides and two in the, what do they call them? The lightweight prototypes, where they had to split them up, and it's mind-blowing. 33 out of 89 cars are designed and built and in South Africa.
It's incredible. What we haven't touched on, though, Colin, is the original bimodals. I'm just going to go back there. We've got Benji Merlot, who's so prompt, and he's just so competent. And then you've got Sharon Moore, who's lying third in the original bimodals, followed by JK, John Kelly from Botswana, followed by Stewart in 13th, followed by Werner in 28th. That is a huge chunk of the original bimodal crew. The fact that they're all there, they're all performing well. I'm astonished that Sharon was only 4:10 behind Benji, and you've got JK who was only 5:25 behind Benji Merlot, he's been there, he's done that, he's such a good rider, and he loves Malamoto. I mean, these guys, for me, really need the kudos of everything, because they are doing it on their own. They don't have the backup. They don't have the assistance crews. I am so proud of them. I mean, I know I'm waxing lyrical, but the fact is I love my chickens.
Okay, so those of you who are watching, Steffi, she calls them chickens. This is one of the most passionate people I've ever met around motorsport. Southern Africa Dakar Group. Stick the logo up there, Fritzy. I think it's in the link to the descriptions and all the rest of it. They do the day-to-day. You see that logo with all the colors and the map and stuff like that. She and Johan do all the the blow-by-blows. She's got sources that I thought we were good on sources, but I'm learning from Steffi. Hats off to you, young lady.
Thank you.
It's
You know what? I
absolutely
think we're
mind-blowing.
very fortunate. Yeah, Cole, we're so fortunate. You know, it's just Johan and I. We're both volunteers. This is just our passion. We love it. We're going to do it. And Johan works so hard behind the scenes. You know, Johan is a legendary statistician. He's going away for a day. I think I'm just taking the day off. There's no ways I could do what Johan does in a day. It's impossible. But the fact that we've got such a great support as well, we're loving it, loving all the interaction. Go to our page, go and have a look, hop onto Race Day. We all share each other's stuff. We all credit each other, just out there, throwing it out there. People, if you use information, be nice, just credit it. You know, we're working really, really hard. And yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow morning. I don't know if I'm going to sleep tonight. I'm so excited, but I still have to do radio.
Basically, what you're saying is hashtag DBAC and don't Control-C, Control-V. But Andrew Horn, let's start. I can sit and talk for another 4 hours on this blooming event because I think it's absolutely stunning. There's so much stuff. But we've got, I don't know, a couple of days left on this thing. Andrew, question. You've got your most interesting one. What's the theme of our readers, viewers, peoples?
Funnily enough, this debate on who's the oldest has really exploded. Everybody's kind of going back, 5 or 6 years now. There was a 78-year-old Japanese man that did it in the trucks, interestingly. Someone's brought that one up. But we're talking about Dakar 2022, youngest and oldest there. Certainly a lot of interest on which sort of side, people... which side the cars are driven on. There's been a lot of questions around that. I think, after a 19K prologue today, the real racing gets going tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have a hell of a lot to talk about for the next 13 evenings.
Yeah, so that's our stage from today. You can see the little 19-kilometer thing in the DSS. And I think in the folder 1B, Fritzy, you'll see the stage for tomorrow with a loop. So they've got a total of 181 kilos liaison and 333 kilos of proper racing. Around hail, so they will have a bivouac that they are comfortable with, and there's not a lot of driving. And I mean, that gives you an indication of it. So there's sand tracks, and the notes that I've got is navigation, 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 and beware of shortcuts. So I think that the whole tricky bits of navigation, the organizers they want to open up some time gaps early on, number one, and then number two, Monday and Tuesday, the traditional culling of the field. Now check out this is the elevation. Right in the middle, there's that bit of a bump. There's some proper climbing, a bit of mountain pass, and then they go back to some Dakar. So it's sand tracks and navigation. I
love the little breakdown with the terrain, percentage of sand dunes that they've put in for this year at the bottom. It makes it, I don't want to say idiot-proof, but almost idiot-proof.
Yeah, hell, and Andrew, even I can follow it now, hey? So that's kind of like right. So
they've saved our lives, Colin.
Should we start wrapping up? Steffi, Andrew, take it away. We'll give us your wrap-ups and what are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Forward to watching those navigators, the fiendish navigation that's following them. I think it's going to be hard tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. It sounds like it's only 181 kilometers, but I think with those mountainous landscapes, the sand, the navigation, we're going to start seeing timelines. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I mean, if you have a look at this, Cole, you can talk us through this.
Yeah, so this is Henry Cole and Ernest Roberts. And just going back now, have a look. You'll go back to the iPad or the screen, and he's got a clicker, and with his clicker he can move up and down through the book. So it's really trick. And the comment that's coming out of the navigation is that all the co-drivers They are co-drivers. They manage the car as well. They really, really love the system, and they think that it's absolutely magnificently cool. So, Andrew, did I miss? Was my brain going and I missed what you were saying?
No, you didn't miss anything from me. Are they doing the same as they did last year with getting the road books?
Yeah.
Right before the stage.
Yeah, it's
So I think that really
10,
added
15
a new
minutes before, yeah. So that's
that made it really cool. And then we've got Johannes Itzebeth wanting to know if Steffi has any photos of Johan. So we keep talking about Johan. They want to know what Johan looks like. So that's something for Steffi to think about.
And I was also just thank him. He was very sweet.
That's good. I'm interested to see how Mr. Dakar, Stefan Peterhansel, copes with this electric hybrid beast and how that plays out. We know how he likes to operate in a Dakar, and he's never really, he plays the long game, which I think that's going to be fun to see him and Nat over the next, certainly over the first week.
Yeah, it's 330 kilos of racing. It's going to be nail-biting. We'll understand this time tomorrow, the bull dust will have stopped, and we'll know for realsies how quick the pro drives really are. They've kept dead quiet. Is this Audi as quick as some people fear? There's some that fear that it hasn't been, the balance of performance is not right with that vehicle. We don't know. Is NASA as fast as he believes he is? Both him and Matthew Balmel say that this is their year. This car that they've got is unbelievably quick. It is spectacular. Will Henk Latergan, what's he going to do? Janil is quick from the word go, and he had the ups and downs of getting there through all the drama of everything.
Yeah.
And there's a lesson in that. We were talking about posting just now, Steffi. Before you write, think. Wait for some implications. And are you adding to a story or just spreading a rumor? It's going to be interesting. It is Dakar 2022. And I want to say a couple of thank yous, first of all, to you, our audience who've spent this time watching. Thank you so much. To Andrew Horn and Steffi Vetter, somewhere close to this ocean on the southern part of this continent. Thank you very much. I want to say a big thank you to King Price for coming on board, and from Spaniard. And in particular, our studio again is at Vatswaye. Come and check them out in Menlyn in Pretoria. They've got some of the most magnificent cars. I'm looking at a Mini Cooper S that comes super old there. There's all sorts behind us here. We'll have a look at it during the day tomorrow. And Corbera has been absolutely magnificent in getting here. And on a closer note at home, to our team here, Peter Lombard, Director of Photography, Fritz de Jager, our Technical Boffin Director and Magician, really special, and to our Executive Producer and Head Honcho, Henk Brits. From me, Colin, and the team of Steffi and Horndog, thank you for watching. Remember, we've got a Spaniard hamper for you. And tell us, who's the oldest toppy who's racing in this year's Dakar? Be well, have fun, be nice. We will see you tomorrow. Cheers, guys. Bye, Andrew. Bye, Steffi.
Night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Ciao.